Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today. Vince McMahon apparently is not just happy killing off professional wrestling today. He has to go back and bring everybody in from the past to kill off your memories of when wrestling was actually great. I would like to say the Raw reunion show was a disappointment, but we got everything that I expected. What I didn't expect is for it to be exceedingly worse than anything I could ever imagine. There are tons of things wrong with tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Raw Reunion review show. Oh, let's do it. I knew it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Reunions suck in general. That's one of the reasons why going into tonight's show, I knew we weren't going to get anything worth watching. Think about any reunion you've ever been to. One of the main reasons I don't ever go to a high school reunion, because everything ends up failing to meet any expectations you may have. And you're going to end up, by the end of the night, being disappointed and hoping, or wishing rather, that you did not attend that reunion on that evening. That is the case here tonight. Oh, what are you talking about? I had a great time at my reunion. Well, good for you. Some of us might put on our best suit. You know, you put on your favorite cologne, you get yourself all did up because you want to go and you want to see that one person. You know, you're going to the high school reunion because you want to see that one girl. Remember that one girl in high school, or that one guy, the hot jock that everybody was fawning over, that one girl that every single guy in the whole entire high school wanted to get with. And you want to go back and just to see them, just to relive that moment. And then what happens? You're sitting there at the reunion, right? You got a couple of drinks in you, you're sitting at your table all by yourself because now you remember you didn't have any fucking friends in high school, and then here she comes walking through the doorway, and she can't even fit through the double doors. She walks in looking like Jabba the Hutt, and everything you remember about this girl that was awesome is immediately erased from your memory. She's got a wallet full of pictures that keep folding down. She's got like 19 kids. Her husband left her. She's living off the city's money right now. And you're sitting there going, wow, I turned out better off the way I am. And it's a good thing I didn't marry Jabba the Hutt over here. But you go home and you sit on your couch and you end up being disappointed. That's what happened tonight. That's what happened tonight. We walked into the Raw reunion, we walked into the auditorium or the lunchroom or wherever it is we're having tonight's show, and we're expecting to see all of our favorite people from back in the day. We're expecting to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're expecting to see the Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair. We got the NWO coming to town. They're advertising DX. Everybody and their mother that you might want to see, and they're telling you to come on in and see. They're going to be great. It's going to be wonderful, right? But what did they do? What did they do? They came in and they did nothing. John Cena showed up and gave us absolutely nothing. We got Rikishi because I guess that means something. That's somebody that we've all missed tremendously. We want to see Rikishi, a guy that wouldn't even go to his own son's wedding. Last we seen him during all the fucking Total Divas nonsense, but now they're all good. I guess the family's all well and good and everything's fine for Rikishi. We got Devon Dudley showing up. He's one of the #1 contenders tonight for the most forced legend in the whole entire evening. What the hell does Devon Dudley give two shits about the revival that he's out there with them? That's all you got for Devon Dudley. The level of creativity that they have is absolutely below zero at this point. How do you not come up with something for Stone Cold Steve Austin to do? How does Stone Cold Steve Austin come to the Raw reunion show? You make me sit for 3 fucking hours to hear the glass break, and then this guy wants to come out and tell me stories. Oh, I did a podcast with Hollywood Hogan. What? I talked to Nature Boy Ric Flair all day. I got to hear the Nature Boy tell me stories. What? I got to go down to the store and I got to have beer. What? And some other beer. What? And some other beer with my name on it. What? And then, oh, wait, they're counting me down. We gotta go. This show sucks. What? And give me a hell yeah. What? And that's it. How do you have Steve Austin on a show and not have him stun somebody? Better yet, you don't want Steve Austin on the show? Why was Kevin Owens not on this show all night long, stunning legends left and right, just to fucking piss off the McMahon family? Now, believe me, I'm grateful that we didn't have to see Shane McMahon sweating up the reunion, making everything all foggy with all the friggin' moisture pouring off his body. Because it's so hot it's going to immediately evaporate and make the whole gymnasium at this reunion full of sweat. So at least he wasn't around. But at the very least you could have had Owens creating chaos. Sticking it to the McMahons because they wanted to have this reunion. And why are we bringing everybody back to stand around and do nothing and say nothing anyway? What are we celebrating? The longest running weekly episodic television show that sucks balls. 1,365 times this show has aired. That's what we're celebrating? What a weird number to be celebrating. Just fucking out of the blue. 3 weeks away from SummerSlam. Oh, it's episode number 1365A.2B7. Oh, that sounds like a reason to throw a party. We're 1,365. Yeah! What are we celebrating? All night long, we're waiting for this fucking toast. A toast by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ric Flair comes out and says absolutely nothing. Hulk Hogan comes out and says thank you to everybody 100 times. And then what you gonna do, brother? You're gonna be bored to tears by the time you get to the end of this show, because you know what you did do, brother? You sat here and watched this shit and thought the WWE was gonna make it worth watching. And they didn't. What the hell are we celebrating? The lack of creativity in this company? The fact that you got some of the greatest legends of all time on this roster tonight, on this show tonight, and you couldn't come up with jack shit for anybody to do outside of Mick Foley? What the hell did we just watch? This was a 3-hour masturbation session for the WWE. Look at all the stars that we used to create. We suck so bad at making stars now, we took in the megastars of yesteryear and showed you what they would look like on Monday Night Raw in 2019. Which is trash. What did Stone Cold do that got you so excited? Oh, DX was in the building. For what reason? To stand next to fucking Seth Rollins? Well, I guess you gotta have somebody cool when you don't have the Shield around anymore. What does that mean? They would have had this fucking reunion show. You got the OC. The OC. You got Anderson, Gallows, and AJ Styles finally together as the club, and you want to call them the OC. I'm sorry, I thought the OC was Orange County, a location in California somewhere. Or maybe some of you guys might be thinking, oh, I've heard that before. Where have I heard the OC before? Well, that's because it was a really shitty Fox television show about 10 years back. Used to go side by side with The Hills and all this other shit. The Hills came back to MTV. Is that why we're bringing back the OC? Is it in the Fox contract? Oh, well, you need to make reference of some of our old TV shows. Make sure you talk about the OC. Now it's just a terrible name for a faction. The logo is fucking sweet. But why get all excited about that? That's nothing more than we've seen them have in New Japan. You got the gas mask with the cool little stylistic little daggers coming in and out. They've had that shirt before. It's nothing new. The only thing new about it is instead of saying Bullet Club on top, it says the OC. The NWO was around tonight. One of the things they could have done. AJ Styles has gone on record to say that the Bullet Club was very much inspired by the New World Order. They had the black and white colors. They threw up the Too Sweet. There's a lot of similarities between the two. You wanted to label them something. You want to make things that are old new again. You want to make something feel a little bit special. You don't want them to be called the Club. Why not have Kevin Nash and Scott Hall show up and actually hand over the NWO logo and colors and t-shirts to the OC? Want to give them a couple of letters? Give them the NWO. You totally reinvigorate that whole thing. You got Bischoff's name in the headlines. You got Bischoff showing up on the show tonight because everybody now knows he's not the creative director. But do something interesting. Wrestling fans love nostalgia, right? That's why you're going to have a great rating for next week for this episode. But you don't want to do something like that. That would have been better. Would have been much better, in my opinion. And it would have given these guys a reason to come around. And you could have given new life to something that the fans already have fucking t-shirts for. And will buy more of. Sure, it's not Hogan, Hall, and Nash, but AJ, Gallows, and Anderson could be something. And then you bring Finn Balor into the fold when he comes back from his vacation. And it feels like the New World Order. Why not? Why not? It's something. It's trying. At least I'm fucking trying. Well, these guys are 3 members of the original club. Oh, well, let's call them that. They're the original club. No, they're the OG club. No, they're the OC. Oh, okay, great. I like that. Let's do that. Awful. Absolutely awful. There was no reason for anybody being around tonight. All of the legends that came up tonight, if you want to call them that, most of them were D-level at best. And you got guys like the Godfather showing up, calling out for the whole train, and then no hosts show up. It's time for everybody to come aboard the whole train. And nobody showed up. Where was the fucking train? Did he miss it at the station? Did he forget to latch the rest of the train to his caboose? What is going on? Why bother having a character like the Godfather on TV, having this return to attitude of sorts over the last couple of weeks? We're going to get edgy. We're going to start saying mid-level curse words, and we're going to start talking about marijuana usage, and we're going to start using a little bit of sex appeal again. Why? Why? Shock value is not going to make people come and watch something so shockingly bad. So bad. Oh, Rob Van Dam showed up. Rob Van Dam's walking side by side with Sergeant Slaughter. What? Kurt Angle. What? Who cares? Who the hell cares? What was this all for? A celebration of Raw's awfulness over the last 3 to 5 years. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's get talking about this fucking show. John Cena kicked everything off because that would, of course, be the one person we're all starving so much to see. You advertised all these people. Everybody's looking forward to seeing John Cena. Who gave a shit? Not really me. John Cena came out to the Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks dueling chant. Nobody really gave a shit. The Usos, for some reason, came out and wanted to drop lines with John Cena. Why? Because, I guess. I don't know. This only prompted Rikishi to come out. They had to bring out the Big Quiche to do what? He was not a rapper. This guy was known for putting his ass in people's faces and dancing like a big jerk-off in the middle of the ring with ridiculous yellow sunglasses and a Yokozuna belt around his waist. Why are we celebrating Rikishi? Why is he being... Oh, well, he's the father of the Usos. No shit, Sherlock. Who cares? Who cares? At least try to make it make sense. Then you got the Revival coming out, so we can have this matchup tonight that we've seen a million times already. The Usos versus the Revival. Like I said earlier, why is Devon Dudley in the corner of the Revival? What does he have in common with them other than the fact that he's got a bald head just like them? Nothing. It was so forced, it was ridiculous. At least Rikishi being there made sense because he's blood related. Devon Dudley being there to counteract Rikishi? Or do they have a long-standing feud of some sort that I'm unaware of, that I didn't see? Or just because they're both members of the Attitude Era, so that equals everything out, and I'm just supposed to be okay with that? You're supposed to just spoon-feed me that shit, and it's fine, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's still the same fucking match we've seen over and over and over again, and then the tag team champions get pinned. That's what we love the most to see on this show. We love to see people that are champions being booked as complete losers, because that's how we do things in the WWE. Absolutely terrible. The Revival, whether you love them or you hate them, you gotta feel bad for these guys, because it's just been a downward spiral ever since they put those belts around their waist. 6-man tag team hell, 2 out of 3 falls nonsense, and now shit like this. Just being pinned by the Usos again on a Raw reunion show because their dad was there. Who cares? We go backstage after this to a gaggling of mediocrity, the likes of which have never been seen before. You got Alicia Fox in the back with the likes of Dana Brooke and Tori Wilson and Santino Marella and Caitlyn. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is what this reunion is all about. We are celebrating how terrible this show has been. We are going to highlight some of the worst characters that have ever set foot on this show. Caitlyn maybe being the only exception to the rule because she was okay, but at the very best, she was a mid-carder. Even as the Divas Champion, she was a lower mid-card act. Nobody gave a shit about Caitlyn. She had a nice little story in the little comeback for the Cruiserweight, not the Cruiserweight, for the Mae Young Classic, and that's it. And now she's, alright, she came back for the Raw reunion. What did she do? She did nothing. All these people came back to go sit and take part in catering in the back. They all came for a good meal tonight. All this for nothing. All for Drew McIntyre to come back around the corner, see all of this trash in his face, and then say, legends. Shake his head and walk away. Echoing the same sentiments that I was feeling at that very moment. And for the first time in a long time, I actually had something in common with Drew McIntyre. Charlie Caruso was in the back, aside from being the one lone hoe for the Godfather's hoe train this evening. She was still made to do her job as an interviewer. She interviewed R-Truth and Carmella because this reunion show, if it was dominated by anything, it was dominated by the I'm a clown, hey look at me, avocado golden plated championship belt known as the 24/7 title. There was more time and effort, once again, given to this ridiculous piece of trash belt that is nothing more than decorations for jobbers than anything else on this show. You couldn't come up with a segment for Stone Cold Steve Austin, but we had to go back to the 24/7 I'm a Clown Avocado Championship title 9 times on this evening. 8 championship title changes, and not one person that acquired that belt was worth a shit. Patterson and Briscoe? Kelly? Drake Maverick again? Candice Michelle? Medusa? Alundra Blaze? Whatever you want to call her. She would have had the one highlight of the night. The one moment that I actually would have enjoyed seeing the 24/7 I'm a clown, hey look at me, I'm an avocado champion. She was going to throw the belt in the trash. And while half of me saying, oh well of course, we're going to just go to the well and pull out every classic WWE moment so we could shit all over it. But on the other end, I'm going, that belt belongs in that can. If there was any championship belt that deserved to be put in the trash on national television, this was it. And then you got Ted DiBiase coming out of nowhere, buying that championship. He gave her way too much money. Did you see the stack of money he gave Alundra Blaze for that belt? He should have gave her about 15 cents. Well, what's the price of an avocado nowadays? 2 for $5? Ridiculous. The one moment I would have been like, oh, cool, look at what the fuck they did with this belt. They put it in the trash. That's where it belongs. I hope it stays there forever. But no, shenanigans ensue. Drake Maverick wins the championship. He's trying to get the hell out of Dodge. R-Truth ends up winning it back before the night's over. And not only does he get away with the championship in a limousine, he gets away with Drake Maverick's wife. So now this fucking idiot who has been married to this lady for now 4 weeks and has still not yet put it in her ass for some reason, which I will never understand, is now a hostage of R-Truth. And if you think she's coming back to Drake Maverick fully intact, you're out of your mind. I have every fiber in my being telling me that as of right now, when we see R-Truth again, he will have slept with Drake Maverick's wife on top of being the 24/7, I'm a clown, hey, look at me, I wear an avocado championship belt. This is what was the dominating storyline of the night. Did you enjoy it tonight? Did you enjoy the WWE bending you over, making you think they're going to be gentle and make you have a nice, enjoyable experience, only to ram it in there so hard that you don't ever want to sit down again? Did you enjoy it? Because if you did, we are not your kind here. And you could thumbs down this video and take your opinion and shove it right up your ass, because I am no AEW fanboy. I am telling you guys straight facts. I will bring the hammer down on those fuckers too when they piss me off, and that is proof. There is proof of that on this very channel. So don't even come at me with that shit. You know firsthand, if you watched this show tonight, that everything that I'm saying is true. If you did not watch this show tonight and you are coming to me for your information, which most of you guys do, then you guys are way smarter than me. You are way smarter than me, because I'm the idiot for sitting down here and torturing myself for the greater part of 3 hours, watching R-Truth at the Comic-Con doing a fucking IGN interview in a penguin suit, wrestling Drake Maverick as a fucking banana or a bird or whatever he was dressed. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Drew McIntyre finally made his way to the ring after all of this went down and was going to have a matchup against Cedric Alexander, which is one of the more intriguing feuds that I've been looking forward to. One of the things they've done that was actually interesting to me, and they made it more interesting because we didn't have just a straightforward match. Nobody won, nobody lose. This match never got started. McIntyre left the ring as he was the one to enter first to attack Cedric Alexander. During his entrance, the fight just broke out into mayhem everywhere. Next thing you know, Drew McIntyre's got Cedric Alexander up and delivers an inverted Alabama slam right onto the edge of the ring apron, which looked absolutely beautiful. And it looked brutal. And it looked like it hurt. But it was a great way to continue on this story without there being matches. That's what I've been telling you guys. You could book the match, but then something has to happen so the match doesn't go on. And Cedric hasn't lost. Drew hasn't won. He's gained a significant advantage. Cedric is going to be injured now. It's going to make it harder for him to overcome the mountain of a man that is Drew McIntyre. And as we build this match towards SummerSlam, they continue on this path. By the time we get there, we're going to be more interested in this matchup. There's some positivity, you bastards. How about that? Because when they do something right, I will give them the credit for it. When they do something stupid, Like bringing out the Boogeyman and Pat Patterson to win the 24/7 championship. What do you expect me to do? The Viking Raiders come out to fight Hawkins and Ryder in a tag team match that lasted less than 3 minutes, in which the main selling point of this was Christian came out. Who gives a shit about Christian? Without Edge, who cares about Christian? I don't even think Christian cares about Christian without Edge. He can sit there and claim that Christian is better than Edge all he wants, but he knows for a fact that he is nothing without that man. And you got him out there trying to give you analysis on a tag team matchup, trying to put over the Viking Raiders. Who cares? Booker T was out there in the first matchup, sitting there trying to tell us how great the Revival is, and then these guys go out there and lose. In this case, we got Christian sitting there singing the praises of the Viking Raiders, and they go out there and win in less than 3 minutes, and you still don't give a shit. Why? Because who listens to fucking Christian? Who cares what he's got to say? Nobody. And at the end of the day, we're talking about the Viking Raiders. These guys have been squashing jobbers for weeks. And now you're finally elevating them back to D-level talent in Hawkins and Ryder, and I'm supposed to finally start getting into it? Why? Why am I supposed to care? I wish I did, but I definitely don't. There was a party backstage, obviously, because, these guys had to do something. They all came around to fucking do nothing. They had nothing written for anybody to do, so we're all just going to hang out in the back and catering and party. Maria Kanellis and her cuck husband started their stupid nonsense. Apparently, Maria needed cream for her stomach to be rubbed. She's screaming all over the place. You got Eve Torres around. You got Eric Bischoff coming out. Ron Simmons shows up to say damn. All of the tropes of all of the old episodes that used to be so great that aren't going to do shit to help it right now. AJ Styles was in the back. He spoke with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They have the new OC t-shirt, which they debuted. Styles said that they were the originals, that they were the originals, but they were actually calling themselves the OC. Styles said that he was going to beat Seth Rollins tonight. This is where we see Gerald Briscoe take the championship, the 24/7 title, from Pat Patterson, and then before you know it, Kelly's got it, and I just wanted to pukey. Samoa Joe is there for some reason, and he came out to talk shit. They gave him a very Kevin Owens style promo. Samoa Joe saying a lot of the things that I feel about this program. A lot of the things I told you about this program last week. The Raw Reunion show is a piece of shit, and all it is going to do is make Monday Night Raw even worse. He did not use those words, actually, but he did say that this show is a plague. A show like this, a reunion show, is a plague to Monday Night Raw because it feeds the fans' ridiculous addiction to nostalgia. Fact. An absolute truth. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I'm reading it off the notes and I still didn't say it as good as Samoa Joe did. Next thing you know, Roman Reigns is coming out, and I don't understand why. Just because Samoa Joe talks some shit about the Usos, getting their daddy to come and sprout rhymes against John Cena, which, like I said, is something I was already complaining about already. Roman Reigns is mad that Joe's got his family's name in his mouth, and now we're going to get a match between these two. Another match that we have seen over and over and over again. A match that really has no context and no reason to be going on. It's just, Roman's mad at Joe. And now we're going to have another rematch between the two Samoan Joes. And who cares? Who cares? And then what happens? Everything that you know is going to happen. They're not going to have this build up and this lead into SummerSlam. And if they are, at this point, why would you give a shit? Because tonight Samoa Joe does what Samoa Joe does best. He goes out there, he gives a great performance, and then he loses. I've never seen anybody look as bad as Samoa Joe while looking so good at the same time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, this match suffered by having to bend to the commercial rule. They started brawling. I actually thought the match was already in progress, but apparently this was just a pre-match brawl. And Samoa Joe was going to walk away from the matchup. He took the mic. He started asking Roman Reigns if he wanted a match that apparently was already in progress. Oh, you want this? I mean, I don't think he was going to say no when he was just standing in the middle of the ring punching you in the face. You made Samoa Joe look like a buffoon, on top of the fact that you made him look like a complete loser by pinning his shoulders to the mat and having Roman Reigns beating Samoa Joe tonight in just about 6 minutes. Miz TV, special guest Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gave this very underwhelming promo, pretty much just saying that that Brock Lesnar is going to lose because Brock Lesnar's just a man and any man can lose. Who's writing this shit for him? Any man can lose. What? That's the best you got? That's the best you got. You're going up against the Beast for the second time. This is a man you've already beaten once. And you're not confident enough to really boast your chest and beat your chest and not seem scared and not seem like you're unsure of yourself. You're going out there being like, well, Brock Lesnar's just a man and every man can lose. Weren't they saying the same shit about Braun Strowman when he was this unbeatable monster way back in the day? Last year? Paul Heyman came out. Seth Rollins threw some threats at him. Paul Heyman ran away. And the rest of this underwhelming promo just went on. It was terrible. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. He was going to burn it down against AJ Styles tonight. Awful. We go back to the party again. See the legends in the back doing a whole lot of nothing for Sami Zayn to show up. He said these people weren't legends. They just happened to be there at the time, which I could pretty much agree with for most of them. He said watching tonight's show was like watching it through the Face app, which I actually chuckled at because that's everybody's big thing now. Oh, everybody wants to know what they look like old. Well, it's like watching a Raw show from back in the day through the Face app. Thought it was very funny. Out of nowhere, Rey Mysterio appeared, to show some respect, and then next thing you know, we have a matchup between Rey Mysterio and Sami Zayn being booked on this night. Kelly showed off her title to Candice Michelle. Next thing you know, Candice Michelle wins it from her. More madness as Alundra Blaze wraps up Candice Michelle and then taps her out. So now she has the championship, and she is going to go on and almost throw it away very shortly. Jonathan Coachman joined the commentary. Because that's necessary. That's how you celebrate a reunion. Let's bring back all the worst announcers as well. That'll make the ratings pop. Rey Mysterio defeated Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, I don't even remember the last time this kid's won a match. I don't know why he even bothered coming out to spout his garbage. There's no reason for him to be around. Sami Zayn was on this show to do nothing. And lose to Rey Mysterio. And what was the last thing Rey Mysterio was doing? Losing. I hate this show. They showed Ric Flair arrive in a limo, and then they showed the Street Profits in the back, making mention of hanging out with RVD and doing some bacon of sorts. I just thought this was all very forced. And the delivery and the presentation of the Street Profits on the main roster reminds me a lot of how they debuted the Iconics. Remember when they debuted the Iconics and all they did was come down to the ring and talk shit and talk in an annoying voice? Which is why most of the people dislike them nowadays. That's what's going to happen to the Street Profits. Alundra Blaze then came to the commentary desk and threatened to throw out the 24/7 belt. Ted DiBiase came out, offered her cash for it. Ted DiBiase walks away with the championship, and I still don't care. The third hour begins with Seth Rollins going one-on-one with AJ Styles. This would get ridiculous as well. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson accompanied AJ Styles. Seth Rollins would win via disqualification. This match barely went 10 minutes and was really more about the people that came out at the end. At some point, DX made their way to the ring and stopped a beatdown from the OC on AJ Styles. I thought this was going to somehow turn into a six-man tag, since that's what the WWE loves to do. However, they made it insanely worse, because even though DX and Seth Rollins had the whole situation well in hand, X-Pac and the Road Dogg and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash all decided to come out to the New Age Outlaws theme song. Obviously minus Billy Gunn, who is under contract with AEW. Hall and Nash were in their NWO t-shirts, but they didn't come out to their own NWO music. They didn't say a friggin' word. The Road Dogg did all the talking. He looked like Pappy from the Popeye movie. You guys remember that old Popeye movie with Robin Williams, which I think today is Robin Williams' birthday. And rest in peace, Robin Williams. I miss people like you in this world. But remember that movie, Popeye, and he had Pappy. And he had that really grizzly beard. And that's what the Road Dogg looked like, Pappy. Popeye's Pappy to me. Fucking ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Going to this reunion, that's how I'm going to remember the Road Dogg now. Now, I know we just seen him like a couple of months ago, but he didn't look that bad. And every time you come back, they're going to look even worse. Why can't you just leave them alone? All for them to do what? To threaten the OC? And then have AJ Styles and them do nothing? They didn't attack DX. They didn't attack X-Pac. They didn't lay waste to a bunch of legends. They didn't do anything. They backed away from DX and the NWO. So what the fuck was the point? To make them look like a bunch of cowards? Or did you just want to clearly show the world how Seth Rollins sticks out like a sore thumb and looked like a kid that did not belong in the ring with the amount of talent that was in there at the time? Why not just put a big, big arrow around him and say, this is not a star. These are stars. This is not a star. This is not a champion. These guys are legends. Rollins is this. There was one picture I seen floating around on Twitter. The guy's standing around the background. You got DX and the NWO all hugging and happy and all embracing each other. And he looks like the fucking one kid looking in the back like, oh, I wish I was part of the group. I wish somebody would be my friend. Fucking useless. The best part of the night came with the Mick Foley segment. He started talking about the 24/7 championship, and I didn't really care about any of that. But then the lights went dark, and Bray Wyatt's Fiend hit the ring and attacked Mick Foley. He didn't just attack Mick Foley, but he attacked Mick Foley with the mandible claw, which was Mankind's maneuver, Mick Foley's own move. And I loved every minute of this. There should have been a whole lot more of this. In fact, I don't know why Mick Foley wasn't held off to be part of the big jerk-off segment at the end and then come out and attack everybody. Much like I said, you didn't want to do it with Kevin Owens, you should have waited the whole night, had Stone Cold out there with Mick Foley, and then you could have had the Fiend's lights go out and show up, and he attacks Stone Cold, and he takes out Mick Foley with the mandible claw. Would have been great. Because this was the best moment on the whole entire night. After this, we had to go to a moment of bliss with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is trying to hype her match with Natalya. Both of these girls are on the stage. Natalya made her way out. One good line I liked from Corey Graves tonight was Natalya's music hit, and she was there right at the moment that Alexa Bliss mentioned Canada. And Corey Graves was like, oh, what, did somebody just say Canada? And a member of the Hart family comes out? And I just kind of chuckled at that, and I had to give him a little bit of credit for that. Other than that, there was nothing happening here except for the WWE trying to get two babyface females to generate some forced confrontation between one another in order to make everybody buy into the fact that they're going to dislike each other enough to have a good match. And I don't give a shit. There are a million other girls besides Natalya that I would like to see in this situation. Oh, but SummerSlam's going to be in Canada. Pfft, that doesn't mean you have to have a Canadian in a championship matchup. And I'm sure there are other Canadians on the roster in the women's division somewhere that could fit the bill. It doesn't have to be Natalya. the token Hart family member that has to take the place in any fucking Canadian province that we perform in. Cares, man? She's only going to end up losing anyway. She's going to embarrass Natalya in her home country. Who cares? Who cares? Drake Maverick found his wife waiting in the limo. This is where he was jumped by R-Truth. He pinned Drake Maverick for the championship and then took off with Drake Maverick's wife in the limousine as well. Braun Strowman showed up in something I still can't figure out. They had Braun Strowman come out here tonight on the Raw Reunion Show Celebration and fight a barely 200-pound soaking wet kid named Randy Rowe, who looked like Darby Allin, and the name Randy Rowe, to me, now I might just be starting some shit here that might not be true, but sounds suspiciously like Brandy Rhodes to me. And I'm looking at this whole segment and the way that Braun is just tossing Randy Rowe around like a bag of trash, doing nothing more than that, and then pinning him in 45 seconds as a shot at Cody and Brandy and the guys at AEW. Like, what was the point of that? If not for that specific point, then why did that match take place? We just watched Braun Strowman decimate the old milk dud, boring, trashly Bobby Lashley. And now he's fighting a hometown jobber, Randy Rowe. You tell me when you figure that one out. Because I can't. And then we had the main event. The main event was a toast to Monday Night Raw. Some of this we touched upon already. Ric Flair entered to the Nature Boys music. Woo! He strut his stuff to the ring and then was immediately followed by every single person that came to the show tonight to do absolutely nothing. Every legend, every former superstar that took time out of this Monday to bore me into a sleep tonight, all there outside on this stage. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's about to happen here. I'm waiting for Kevin Owens to show up and start causing some chaos. That's what I'm waiting for. But I would be waiting for something that never comes. Hulk Hogan comes out. He says, thank you. What you gonna do when the Raw reunion runs wild on you, brother? Hogan's theme plays. Everybody's standing around, not knowing what to do. Then the glass breaks. Austin hits the ring. And said nothing. He posed. He started grabbing some beers. Said, give me a hell yeah, about 3 times. He said he's not going to get sentimental because he's about ready to drop everyone that's up there on the stage. And I'm like, oh, all right, so maybe he's going to invite some people into the ring and start dropping stunners on everybody. And then maybe Kevin Owens will come out and they'll have dueling stunners or something. Maybe Shane McMahon's going to come out and try to stop all this shit with Stone Cold. And then right before Stone Cold can hit the stunner, Kevin Owens is going to hit. But there was none of that. There was just more talking. There was story time with Steve. Talking about how everyone has bled and sweat and cried and probably crapped and pissed themselves. This is what you got Stone Cold Steve Austin standing there talking about. People shitting themselves in the middle of the ring. He must be talking about every Monday night and every match that we have to see. Because they do nothing more than shit all over themselves. I don't understand it. Then he wants to put over everybody. The guys holding the cameras. What? The guys driving the trucks. What? We're all family. You guys at home. We're family. I don't want to be in this family. Well, I ain't family. I'm an acquaintance at best. I watch. I'm like that neighbor from across the way. Like I'm watching from the window with binoculars, checking everything out, making sure my neighborhood's all right. When I see something wrong, I'm going to call you on it. Not like a disgusting peeping guy or anything, but, for safety. I'm looking out for safety. I'm not looking out for boobies. I got boobies in the other room. I don't need to look at other people's boobies. Real boobies attached to an actual woman that I've been married to, you virgins, so calm down, all right? I'm just trying to make a point. That, my friends, is going to do it. Because what else can we talk about? I talked about what... At the beginning of the show, everything Austin said, he came early today and he spent time with Hulk Hogan and they recorded a podcast and ate sushi. He talked about never having hung out with Hulk Hogan before, so that was great. Last night he was hanging out with Ric Flair and they drank beer at the bar and he heard Ric Flair stories all night long. And then he told everybody everything that he ordered and the crowd like puppets just sat there and said, "What?" And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, and then they had to get off the air. He thought he was done. He didn't realize that we don't go over anymore. You have to be done at 11. There is no 11:05. You can't keep going to 11:15. You got to sign off the show. And then for sure once the cameras were off the air, they were having some sort of fun with the crowd. I'm sure he was having fun. He hasn't done that shit in a long time. Stone Cold notoriously used to stay for a tremendously long amount of time after the show's gone off the air. I'm sure they made good use of that. It's something that we may get to see on the YouTube channel since they had to sign off so abruptly. They couldn't even structure this show properly enough to have it sign off in time. You got somebody out there like Stone Cold. You got all these people out there, and you couldn't get this show wrapped up in time. You couldn't get this show written to be any good. You couldn't get this show to be anything worth watching. Episode number 1365, the celebration of the longest running weekly episodic piece of shit television has ever seen, was everything you thought it would be. So if you haven't seen it, stay away. Don't listen to anybody that's going to sit there and tell you, seeing The Godfather was great. Seeing Stone Cold was so great. That was the best part of the show. When you can tell me what the purpose of it was, then you can tell me that was the best part of the show. Not one thing that happened tonight moved anything forward progressing towards SummerSlam. Not one. Everything was just a bunch of nostalgia madness. Like having a fucking runway show. They should have just had that. Have everybody just come out and walk up and down the ramp, do a little queen wave. Here's this one. Here's fucking Candace. Who cares? Because nobody made a peep for half of these people throughout the night. Everybody waited for Stone Cold, and then we got Stone Cold, and what we got was more like Cold Stone. Fucking awful. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's show. Don't forget to check out everything else we have on the channel, from Hammer in Hollywood to all of the pay-per-view reviews from last weekend, our coverage of AEW, our coverage of Extreme Rules, and the continuing coverage as we continue to make our way to SummerSlam, which is looking to be pretty shitty on the Raw side of things. We'll have to wait and see what comes our way with SmackDown Live tomorrow night, which we will be here to bring the hammer down on for you like we are every single week. And if you don't want to miss a thing, make sure that you are subscribed right now. Help us get to that 2,000 subscriber mark before we get to the end of July. That was the goal. We're going to stick to it. Hopefully we make it, and you can help us do that right now by hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so that you don't miss anything coming up. We might be doing a couple of special episodes. I put out a question on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, there's the handle right there. And you also got a sneak peek of the new intro that started off the show if you followed me on Instagram. So there's reasons for you guys to be following me over there. And now, because I did all of that, I forgot exactly what I was going to tell you guys about my Twitter feed. And just make sure that you check it out and that you are following me over there on the tweet machine. Make sure that you like this video if you enjoyed anything we had to say or do today on this show. If you agree with anything we have to say on this channel, you are a proud member of the Sledgehammer community, and we urge you guys to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they felt they were back at their high school reunion and how terrible of an experience it was when they sat down to watch tonight's Monday Night Raw Celebration of Nothing reunion. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. Thank you all once again for being here. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Avengers, assemble.
I knew